Hello, Newsday. Great to be back in the city, great to be back on the world's greatest subway system. I just came in from a tour of Bryant Park, Fifth Avenue Station. Why did I go to Bryant Park, Fifth Avenue Station? Because I want to see firsthand, first of all, the cameras that we have in every subway car. I told you I would get that done in every station. Something I insisted on that is ahead of schedule. I think that's important to reassure New Yorkers that there are people watching. I walked through one of the train cars and chatted with everybody, and a lot of smiles. People felt good, and they're excited about the protections that are being put in place for all of them. I also wanted to take a look at the LED lighting, which really makes a difference from one station to another. So I want to make sure that we work hard on getting LED lighting in all of our stations by the end of this year. And those metal platform barriers that you may have seen. You know, there were some earlier renditions that were big and sophisticated. Let's just get back to basics. They serve their purpose. They're there if someone wants to stand behind them while the train is approaching, and it gives you that sense of security that every New Yorker deserves to have. And that's why I've also said in my State of the State, we've outlined a very aggressive plan to ensure that we ramp up the law enforcement presence on our subways as well. I had a chance to thank a number of the members of the NYPD and the transit police. And the reason they're so important, we know this is a strategy that actually works. Last March, we had a big surge in crime. We started to see a decline in the fall, and then for some reason there was a 46% increase in crime in the month of January. I got together with the mayor and our teams and said, we have to do something. And that's when we first deployed the National Guard. We beefed up the overtime. We had state police down there, and we're making real progress. Now, people want to see police officers in the stations and on the trains. Go ahead and ask people, do they feel better when they see someone in uniform who can protect them in advance of someone trying to do harm to them, or certainly be there to help in the aftermath? And I'm not going over crime statistics. It doesn't matter. I encourage you to look at them, though. I encourage you to look at them and see where we are compared to where we had been. But I'll never stop fighting to make sure that our subway is safer and that people, our commuters, who over 1 billion people took the subway last year, feel safe, as well as those who are in the stations. Now, we have seen an increase in some kinds of crimes. You know, overall crime is down. We have the data. But there has been an increase in some felony assaults and some murders, which is what really shakes that foundation of security that everyone deserves to have. So we are deploying an additional 750 NYPD. And I want to bolster the police presence overnight. We track where the crimes are committed. Now, again, on average, it is 4 to 6 crimes a day. Regardless, we have trends that show more of them are likely to occur on the overnight hours, and that's when we have to protect really the unsung heroes of our city. When others are going home, these are the people coming in. You know, they work in the night shift at the hospital, the people work in the hotel lobbies, the doctors and nurses, the bakers, the baristas, the construction workers who need to be on call. These are the people who keep our city running. They're taking public transit, and they have every right to be safe. So let's recap what we're talking about here. The NYPD has 2,500 officers assigned to transit station around the city. They're not going anywhere. This is not taking people out who are already performing important protection services. But we're also putting 750 more on platforms and in stations. And then there's 300 more So you have 2 per train. There's 150 trains that travel the overnight shifts. That's 2 police officers per train. That's where you get the 300 from. And then you add that in with the National Guard we already have there. So basically what this means, we've doubled the number of law enforcement personnel on the New York City subway system in 1 year. But we're also making sure that not just, as I mentioned, the physical presence of police, it's those physical barriers, it's the LED lights, it's the cameras, but also I say it's time to crack down on the shameless fare evaders who just are so brazen. They just walk through, and others who are paying, they feel like, why should I bother? And it's hit our coffers of the MTA hard, not just here, but also on our buses. So I've directed the MTA to install the modern turnstiles in 40 stations. We track where most of the fare evasion occurs. We'll hit the top 40 by the end of 26 and continue to make sure we don't stop until we've completed this process. It's also about keeping people safe. We talked about some of our strategies to help those who need the most help to be taken to get the treatment they need, and the security of having a safe place to take care of themselves and not living on the subways. So that's what I wanted to chat about today. Happy to take any questions. I do want to acknowledge Michael Kempner, our Chief Security Officer here at the MTA, and also want to acknowledge Jana Lieber, who has been a great partner in ensuring the security measures are in place here on the subway system. Any questions?
Any questions? Let's start with Andrew.
When do these overnight patrols begin?
Monday. Today is Thursday. How does Monday sound? I'm not waiting. Monday. Monday you'll start seeing the increased presence on the overnight trains.
Because I was hearing from the NYPD yesterday that while Monday is a good goal, structurally and organizationally, it might take longer. I'm just wondering.
We're gonna get started Monday. You know, complete Monday by midnight. I don't know if it will be complete, but it is going to start Monday. Again, this is overtime. This is something that we are willing to do at the state level to assist the city. We've done it before. It's made a difference, and I'm going back to proven strategies that work.
Okay, Morgan.
Hi, Governor. How much will this cost, and doesn't this have to be approved by state lawmakers?
Yes, $77 million between now and when the budget process is done, so we have the resources to do that. I said this is a 6-month strategy. Crime does tend to go down after the winter months. There's more people indoors during the winter months for obvious reasons. So this is a 6-month plan, and then we'll get it in the budget to fund the second half of this with the support of the legislature.
So the $77 million is coming from just like a general fund?
From our existing budgets, yes, yes.
Marla.
At least 2 of the very high-profile crimes that occurred in December, the subway shoving, a woman set on fire in Coney Island, occurred during the day, and some are asking, why just increase these patrols in the overnight? One happened in the morning, early morning hours, one happened midday.
I want to be very clear on this. 2 things. We track the trends of where more crimes are likely to happen. We have had horrific, unusual, high-profile crimes that have occurred. Now, several of them, right? We're not doing anything with the 2,500 police officers who are already there patrolling the system. This is to add on top of that. This is not diverting existing law enforcement. I want to assure everybody of that.
Yeah. Many would argue that officers may not be in the best position to address the mentally ill who are in the subways and causing a problem, whether they're violent or belligerent. Is there any allocation for additional social workers to accompany these officers?
I'm glad you asked. We already have our SOS teams. I will tell you, these are God's workers on earth. I've seen them. They have the purple jackets. What they do is they go up to people who've been long time homeless, but also suffer from either mental health challenges or addiction. We already have now, as a result of their efforts, building a relationship with individuals, 850 people who had lived here, now in secure, supportive housing. That was done by professionals. I'm increasing the number of teams to 10 more by the end of this year, and it does cost funding, but I'm willing to put the money into those programs. It's really important that we get people with the clinical training to deal with this particular population. Absolutely.
10 more teams to accompany the additional 300
That-
officers?
That's, yes. These are not just, this is not just law enforcement. These are social workers. These are people that are mental health professionals. These are people who help them get into supportive housing. So we've deployed, that was part of my 5-point plan last time. We're increasing the number because it's worked so well.
Okay, Jack.
How is it that there will be more cops on trains overnight, but you're saying that won't mean fewer cops elsewhere in the city overnight?
It's called overtime. I'm not creating more bodies, I'm getting the equivalent by having people work the shifts. They'll be able to earn more money, those who are eligible, but also much of this funding is going to go toward overtime.
But in 2022, you made a similar overtime announcement that there'd be 1,200 overtime shifts each day. What's the difference? Like, if that didn't work then, how's it going to work?
No, it worked. It worked. It went down so dramatically that we didn't have to do it again. I mean, again, this is cyclical. The crimes are more frequent during the winter months, during the summer. The police need to be outdoors. More of the activity occurs out on the streets. And so we understand because of the, our analysis, our crime analysis center is telling us exactly when they're happening, where they're happening. So this is a targeted strategic approach to fighting crime.
Okay, we have time for a couple more. Bloomberg and then New York one.
Hi, Governor. Again, the 77 million, I just want to be clear. You're saying that's going to cover this program for a while, but then you're going to use it. But for the full 6 months, you're going to be more than 77?
Well, you can double the 77. That's right.
Sam.
So the SOS, is that separate than the scout teams?
Yes.
And how many scout teams are out now?
I don't know how many, Chief Kemper?
So both the MTA Police Department is working with approximately 5 scout teams. Plan to increase that by 10 in the very near future. And the NYPD has similar teams working in the subway system also. So 10-ish right now, with an expansion coming soon.
Okay.
So the SOS is an addition?
As an addition to that, yes.
NJ.
Thank you. Governor, some of the criticism that you face over congestion pricing comes from people who are incensed over fare evasion. How does that factor into your decisions to crack down further on fare evasion?
That's not why we need to do something on fare evasion. I mean, I look at the data. MTA is losing $700 million a year, half of which again is on buses. It is too easy to get on and off the buses without paying your fare, and we don't want to put our drivers in harm's way. So that is the challenge we're facing. But what I'm going to be focused on here is building the new turnstiles to avoid the fare evaders. That'll help increase the coffers of the MTA, but also stop some of the chaos that we're seeing here. Where people just feel like there's no rules being followed. So unrelated to congestion pricing, this is just the right thing to do, and it's overdue.
Last one, Mark, on topic.
Thank you, yes. Since congestion pricing is going to fund the MTA, I was wondering when did you find out that the toll-free East River crossings were now going to be tolled? Like the 59th Street Bridge, you go 1 block and you got to pay $9. The Brooklyn Bridge, you go 80 feet and there's a difference when you got to pay $9. When did you realize that, and was that intentional, or can you do something like put up Jersey barriers so that you don't have to get tolled?
No, this is something that's been long in the making. And there's been a team of individuals before my time as governor who had been working on all these details, deciding exactly where the cameras would go, how this was actually rolled out. So it's not me waking up and saying we should do it this way. This is the plan that was envisioned and put in place that we implemented. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everyone.